And now it asserts here that the hope of many Chinese is to copy the lifestyles of affluent city people all over the world. So as they come up out of the agrarian background, they want to live the way they imagine people in cities live. They don't want to preserve their cultural way of life. They don't want to hold on to their roots. They don't want to keep their identity. Now from September 2006, a little more updated, there's another article on the Manchurian Mandate. China looks to a new generation of model workers to revive its decaying industrial heartland. I don't know what kind of tripe that's about. They are privatizing factories is what it comes down to. It's got a picture here of a factory that used to make munitions, and this guy now makes propane tanks for people to use instead of shells for guns. Now it says Chairman Mao had an initiative to turn the Northeast into a massive state-financed industrial zone, and today it is some sort of a rust belt basically, because a lot of heavy industry from the communist era is there. So, quote, revitalizing Dongbei, as the Northeast is known, will test China's run of economic success. The region's former strength, the ability of its state-owned enterprises to produce cars, steel, ships, and oil in the early days of the People's Republic, has become a liability. Now, there's still a very high demand for those. What's the liability is their inefficiency, but whichever. Continuing, applying the formula that has worked elsewhere, foreign investment and export-driven growth, the government has closed or partly privatized some, so it just skipped what really worked elsewhere, privatization. It says applying the formula that has worked elsewhere, and then it tries to name that formula, foreign investment and export-driven growth. Foreign investment and export-driven growth is not what worked. Privatization is what worked. Privatization brings foreign investment, which brings growth because exports start increasing. But send a socialist to write an article, and a socialist will write an article. Continue the quote. The government has closed or partly privatized many industries and used investment from neighbors such as Japan and South Korea to build modern software and manufacturing plants. But with China's highest urban unemployment rate and widespread corruption, the Northeast will likely stumble, not sprint towards success. The whole question of China's success is how quickly can it set itself up with a free economy, if it can. And I think it might just take a whole bunch of wealth and then we will have a huge fight or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We probably never would have seen ourselves as the ally of Soviet Russia, yet throughout World War II we were allied with them. So might we ally with China in some sort of a war, or might we end up fighting China? Hopefully wars are in the past. Now that's about all I have to say additionally on China. I really don't know too much about the rising influence of the middle class, as a viewer asked me to comment on. Don't know too much more about China. The fact that my comments were enlightening, I think might speak to the abstract nature of my comments. The fact that they were a broad view of China's role over a period of years, or decades even. So I don't know particulars, a lot of really small particulars. All I have is the historical perspective, that in the past, free economies are different from controlled economies. Controlled economies can get investment, they can grow, they can look prosperous, people can talk about how great they are in the new way and everything. Then it turns out they're just a controlled economy, and I mean they can stumble backwards really fast. So I hope some things in there were worth the effort of watching this next installment on China. Certainly not much more I'll be able to say about it soon, but I will keep my eye out for relevant facts, because there does seem to be quite an interest in the subject.